Welcome to Boss Up Babes, helping babes show up, boss up, and thrive. With #1 best-selling author, global influencer, and ultimate boss babe, Karissa Adkins. Karissa is a health and wellness expert and CEO of the 365 Daily Hustle, here to help mompreneurs and career-focused women boss up and reclaim their healthiest life. She is a pro at cutting through the BS and inspiring massive breakthroughs that help women create healthy routines and habits that facilitate personal and professional growth. Are you ready to reclaim your best life, take action, and be a badass boss babe? Let's get to it.
What up, everyone? Welcome to another fabulous episode of Boss Up Babes. For all of you newbies out there catching it for the first time, we are a weekly show dedicated to all you entrepreneurs, you innovators, you lady hustlers, and of course, you personal development junkies. We're so excited to help you really just learn how to show up, boss up, and thrive in all areas of life. And as you guys know, every episode is jam-packed with tips and strategies on how to help you do just that. So grab your favorite pen and paper, because today we're talking all about debunking the money myths. And before I bring on my amazing guests, a little life update, right? So I literally just got back from Paris like last night, yesterday. I'm still kind of like, what day is it zone? And if those of you who are following me or watching my Instagram or Facebook page, I just had the best time in Paris. And I wasn't just there for the food and the desserts and all of the sightseeing. I was actually there presenting one of my favorite keynote conversations and talks all about helping women boss up and become the champions of their lives. And what I love about this keynote the most is the fact that it's not health focused, right? It's really mindset focused. It's helping women tap into their potential on the inside, unleash unlock all their BS, and just really allow them to step into their most epic self. So that's what I was there for. But the cool thing that I just want to talk to you about is when you say yes to opportunities like this, like when you put yourself out there and yeah, sure, months ago I could have been like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this and blah, blah, blah. Although let's face it, I'm a boss up babe. I don't really think like that anymore, but I know that so many people do. So I could have been caught up in the overwhelm and like, how am I going to make it all work with my business and my clients and my daughter and my husband and all that jazz. But the whole thing that I want to just really mention on is I said yes, right? We say yes and we figure out things, how we're going to get there later, how it's all going to work out. But the coolest thing, you guys, is that I literally didn't have an hour off of that stage. And I had 2 women come up to me, invited me back to not only Paris next March, but I got invited to go and speak in Spain, which is one of my favorite places to visit. So y'all, say yes to something that's like uber scary, because I promise you it's going to lead you to some pretty epic shit. So anyways, now you have a little life update and what's going on. And I can't wait to introduce my amazing guest, Krisstina. And Krisstina is a real estate mongrel, a millionaire coach, a best-selling author, and the creator of several multi-million-dollar businesses. Krisstina now teaches high-income entrepreneurs how to convert business income into personal net worth and passive income. She's the host of the Wealthy podcast, author of Falling for Money, and owner of Wealthy and Wise Money Method, which we're going to really dive into later today. So with that, Krisstina, welcome to the Boss Up Babe Show.
So happy to be here. And yes, I just want to say that's like such a key piece of advice, is just say yes to the scary shit and then you'll figure it out later.
Yeah. And the cool thing is like, when you get invited to speak, right? And then, so you fill out all their information, you say yes. And then like a little part of you is like, hey, are you looking for anyone else? And then they come back and they're like, yeah, we are looking for speakers. So the cool thing is I'm going to take 5 of my own clients who are trying, they're wanting to kind of step into that speaking space, Krisstina. And I literally gave them that advice, like on Boxer today. I was like, okay, so I'm about to do an email intro. Like this could be your very first international talk. And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, girl, just say yes. As your coach, I'm going to make you say yes. We'll figure it all out later. And so excited to be able to like take some of my clients to Spain and just experience this with them. And I think one of them even said like, yeah, you could do like a meditation right before I go on, right? And like, just calm me down. I'm like, girl, I got your back. So trust me, we'll do it. We'll do it. But no, seriously, welcome to the show. I honor your time and I value it. And so I want to dive right in because I know these episodes go so freaking fast. It's not even funny. So Krisstina, like I had a one-to-one with this boss babe and I was like, whoa, I worked up the courage and I asked her to be a guest on the show. She's like, yeah, girl. So that's how we're here. But I just fell in love with her. She also then sent me this, email that it was like full of all this advice and tips. But the cool thing is she also had like this quiz that I could take. And we're going to talk about more about that here in a minute, but let's really dive in. Krisstina, tell us a little bit about your story, where you came from, like mixed real estate with multi-millionaire coach, business author. Like, how did you even get to becoming Krisstina?
Yeah, well, we all have our life story that could take up the entire time. So, to keep it short, is that I think the big takeaway is, a couple takeaways is that I used to be ashamed to say this, but I literally started in a trailer home. So it is the rags to riches story. And the only reason why I share that is because, like I just teach people how to boss up their financials, how to boss up their money. And to know that it's really money is something that's all in our hands. We're all capable of millions of dollars. And it's not just designated for a small few. So, and I'm just proof of that, right? And I've made every money mistake. Had massive failures, massive breakdowns, you name it, and still to be able to wind up. And the reason why that's true is because in the money business, there's two things. There's like 3 key parts that are really crucial to understand. But usually people just kind of learn one of them or hear one of them. The first one is mindset. So, you do a lot of mindset work and personal development work, for example. And if we want to change our health, a lot of times that's the first place we need to start: our self-love, our mindset, look at those limitations and really work there. So money's the same, and mindset's a big piece. And that comes from our history with money, how we grew up with money, our feelings with money, our psychology, a lot of narrative. So that's the first place. But a lot of times people start there like, wow, if I just fix my mindset, then all the millions are going to come in. Yeah. But mindset's just one piece. Is it crucial? Absolutely. But it's less important actually than the other parts, because the mindset tends to automatically change and improve once we really work on the other 2. And then we can continue to work on mindset. But that's usually where my industry likes to start and stop, for instance. The second one is it's kind of in the mindset category, but is still distinctly different. And that's our relationship with money. And just like if we're healthy, that's, again, we need to change our mindset, but we also many times need to change our relationship with our body, like how we feel about ourselves, how we look at ourselves, how we talk to ourselves. That's our relationship to us. And so, if we have a lot of negative self-talk, if we're, judging ourselves all the time, if we're looking in the mirror and just picking ourselves apart, if our narratives is I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I'm too short, I'm too tall, we can see how that's going to wind up ultimately down the road somewhere. So, or a relationship with a spouse, for example, if we neglect our spouse, we complain to our spouse all the time, we don't want to spend time, like everything's wrong versus nothing's right. We're never grateful. We're always upset about something. I think we can see again where that relationship to another person's going to wind up. Well, money's the same. So we want to look at what's our relationship with money? Like, how do we feel about it? Do we want to spend time with money? If we neglect our money, if we abdicate our money, if we, if our mindset, money's hard or money's numbers, or I'm not good at math, we can see how this mindset and this relationship and these limitations can really influence us. So yeah, we want to improve our mindset. But again, if we start to say, hey, I want to have a really tight, healthy, committed, juicy, loving, kind, compassionate relationship with my money. I want to spend time with it. I just want to be grateful for it. I just want to really focus on the good that it's doing and what I have as opposed to what I don't have. And that time, when we start to change our language, when we start to change that relationship to a dynamic, healthy, committed, attentive relationship, money then starts to be our pal. Money becomes a best friend. Money becomes something we can love in a healthy way, in a functional, healthy way. So that's the second piece that we really want to look at. So if we're neglecting our money, abdicating it, not spending time with it, then it's going to treat us just like probably a spouse would treat us if, if we're not giving it a lot of time. So that's the second thing we want to look at is how much time do we spend with our money? And then the third thing is what I call literacy. It's the skill of money, money savvy. And it's our understanding of the natural and universal laws of money. Money's equal kind of mindset in that relationship piece as it is to knowing what to do with it after we make it. Right. And there's these three categories of money that I call, like these three buckets. The first three is the kind of the soft side, which it means we need to look at this mindset, do some work there, look at our relationship, probably do some work there, and to understand that money is knowledge-based. It's a domain of knowledge. It's a body of knowledge. Medicine's a body of knowledge. If we're going to fly a plane, you can't just say, hey, I want to go fly a plane and change my mindset. You have to actually learn something about the operations of flying. Yeah. What we don't know about money is money has that same thing. It's a body of knowledge. And if we're ignorant or naive, we're going to constantly be bumping against these natural laws. It's going to keep us stuck. We can be making a shit ton of money and still be stuck, and money's not working out, and money causes a lot of crisis. Why? Because there's something we don't know. So then the other three categories are these three categories of what I call earn, spend, and invest. We need to focus on our earnings. But that's just one piece. That's where we get good at, we boss up and we get good at our business. We say yes to shit. We scare ourselves to death and we get good at making it. The second piece is getting good at keeping it and understanding that keeping it is equally challenging in a way as it is earning it. So we have to understand how to do that. And then the third piece and the final piece is growing it. And that's outside of our business. And how do we put our money that we work so hard and we manage so well, we put it to work for us. So at some point, it turns into passive income and we can quit our boss up day job, the day that our portfolio and our growth strategy has money working for us. So we can look at money at these six categories, understand it's got these six parts. Now we can start to really have money that's just multiplying and growing and doing all the things that we want it to, which is ultimately to create freedom.
I love that. I love that. And it's kind of like you broke your money down into like the most simplest things. And I was sitting there thinking, this is how I simplify it for my clients, right? Because I'm like, I can give you the perfect meal plan and the perfect fitness plan, but without the mindset work, we're getting nowhere, right? Like you'll be hiring me again in a year to like help you lose this weight again. So the mindset's like glue for me. The relationship, you guys, and I have a lot of clients that listen to these. It's like, it's the relationship to food. It's the relationship to themselves. It is their self-talk that's so negative when they first come to me, and then they like leave and they're like, oh my God, I feel like a cheerleader. And I'm like, yes, right. You need to be cheerleading for your best life ever. And then the third part, it's like, yeah, I got to teach you how to create sustainable health, like the foundational work to like living healthy, right? Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I'm like, it's so easy being healthy and staying healthy when you can just stick to the basics and the foundation. But it is crazy how so many women still don't even know basics on food or exercise or whatever. I mean, we're overcomplicating it, which you probably see a lot too, of like women just like, I'm overcomplicating this whole money thing. But oh my gosh, so cool. So I totally get where I love the three pillars. And I'm kind of in this, like, I'm getting really, really good at earning it, and I'm making a shit ton of money every month now. And I'm actually trying to get better at spending it. But yeah, I know nothing about growing it. So I have a lot to learn from you, Krisstina.
What's interesting too is that we think that we earn our way to wealth, that if we just build a big business that translates to wealth. And it's not like I mean, again, and I think if I just, the kind of the biggest money myth out there is that one, more money will solve all my problems. That's kind of part A. But part B is that the answer to all my money problems is to earn more money. So what does that do? I mean, there's a formula there that if we say the answer to all my money problems is to make more money, and then we say it takes a lot of hard work to make more money, and now I'm hustling, and at the end of the day, there's only so much hard work you can put into it. Right. So it's false. And so that we don't become wealthy through our business and earnings. There's people that make fractions of earnings that have a lot more money than those that are high income earners. I call it a high income broke. So the truth is that wealth is not created in our business. Wealth is created how we manage our money personally in our household. That's where wealth is created. But if we don't understand there's a difference between the income game and the wealth game, meaning the earning game and the growth game, then we're always going to be earn, spend, earn, spend, earn, spend. And that's called the money hamster wheel. And so, that's just like feeling like, man, at this point in my life, I thought I'd feel different. I thought I'd have more time. I thought I had more freedom. I'm burnt out. I'm tired of hustling. And I have to go hustle again next month to pay last month's bills. Right. And it's a cycle. And there's something called Parkinson's law of money. And Parkinson's law of money says expenses will always rise to match income. So that's written in stone. So and it's so natural and so invisible and so insidious that we don't even know it's happening. And it's a lack of awareness when we're not in our money all the time because of that relationship piece, then we don't know it. But so we don't know that it's the skill of spending. It's how we spend that creates our wealth. It's not how much we earn. So it's just understand that these three pieces we have to really get really good at. And we have to understand the fundamentals. Like you said, it's amazing. And if you go to Google, how confusing it is it keto or is it paleo or is it Mediterranean? And is it HIIT workouts or is it yoga or is it, heavy weights? Like it can be so confusing, but it doesn't have to be confusing. When you really distill it down to the fundamentals, you can optimize and specialize or personalize on top of it. But the fundamentals are applicable to everyone. Yeah. But it's same thing for money. There's these fundamentals, but it's so confusing out there with all this stuff coming at us. And we don't know how to disseminate that and pull it apart and get down to the roots of what's underneath. Yeah. So again, just understand the root of money is actually very simple. The fundamentals and foundations are simple, but we're not taught in school, and money's not something talked about. It's a taboo subject. We're not having conversations like this. Then we have these mindsets and these beliefs that money's hard, so I need to give it to the bookkeepers and people that actually want to spend time with the money. Nobody will ever care about your money like you do.
Right.
So
I love that.
This is something that's like you can't, I say, you might have nannies and babysitters, but you're never going to give up parenting of your children, but you have the help. So same thing with like bookkeepers and CPAs. So many entrepreneurs say, I just want to make the money, be the creative, make a shit ton of it. And then I'll let the money people do something with it. It's like, no, that's like giving your child away to be raised. Our money needs to be raised by us. Now, can we have bookkeepers and accountants that can help us? That becomes more important as time goes on. But at the end of the day, we have to understand the fundamentals. We're responsible because that's our life. So we want to have that desire to really love our money, love taking care of it, and really just learning the fundamentals and the basics so that we're not part of the statistic where, over 85% of Americans are paycheck to paycheck, regardless of income.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, yes, you guys, I love the create a better relationship with money. Like I remember one of my coaches a long time ago, she was like, Karissa, you actually have a hard time receiving it. Therefore, like you're pushing it away. She's like, you actually don't receive a lot of things like compliments and love. And so she gave me a very simple task. She's like, for 2 weeks, I want you to just receive everything. And I was like, what does that look like? She's like literally anything that makes you feel good. Like, I want you to just like scream out, like, I received this and it feels so good to receive. And so it didn't matter if it was a penny on the ground, if it was $1 I found in my pocket, or if it was great sex with my husband. I was like, I received this. Like, I feel so good. And all of a sudden, like I started like believing that I was worthy of receiving. There's obviously a lot more that she did with me with all that, but fantastic advice with grow a relationship with money. It's no different than food or exercise or yourself, y'all. Okay, so I want to like dive in because you have this beautiful quiz that you offer to people. So first off, tell everyone who is listening where like the best place to find you, and then tell us about this quiz.
Yeah, so I mean, at Krisstina Wise Instagram, and Wealthy is my podcast. So that's a great way to if you just want to do some credentials and kind of find out and that type of thing. But I have a great podcast. We talk about the 3 buckets: money, health, and relationships, and I have great guests. So that's a good place. Wealthy. But the quiz is what I call your financial IQ quiz. So it's a great place to start. It's very personal, and this quiz, it's 10 questions, and it'll give you kind of an IQ or a grade that says, hey, based on how you answer these questions, here's how you're doing. So it's a good check-in. It's like just doing your first little lab work, or just kind of stepping on the scale and getting some measurements. It's like, we need to find out where we are so we can see where we want to go. And it's wisemoniymethod.com/quiz. So pretty easy. And yeah, just test yourself. And if you get below like an 80%, it's to really say, there's probably some money stuff here I need to learn. Because what I claim to be true is how well you answer these questions are directly tied to how much wealth you have or will have. So if that's true, then we want to get to 100%. Yeah. And that 100% means we're really on the wealth building track. And again, to understand, there's a categorical difference between the income game, which is making money and spending it, and wealth game, which is building net worth and asset income that ultimately create financial freedom. And when you're in the wealth game, the other game we're in, and once you're aware of that, it radically changes self, it radically changes behavior, it radically changes everything. But it's different. You'll realize like the way you see money, the way you work with money, the way you spend time with it, what you do with it is very different than everybody else. So it's kind of like the secret like club in a way, not that it's exclusive because it's available to everyone, but people in the wealth game, it's just kind of like, yep, it's just a different way of being. And we can choose which one we want to be on, but they're different. Like I said, everything's different in the wealth game, and wealth equals freedom.
Yes, I absolutely agree to that. I'm like, our health is a wealth, and we also need financial freedom. And yeah, there is a big difference between just having money and like being wealthy. I think that's really cool. Okay, I want to go back to some tips now, right? Like the back half of the show is dedicated to all the tips and the strategies. So, and we have a lot of women listening, and they're all walks of life, right? Whether they're in that trailer park or, like billionaire babes, it doesn't matter. We all want to create more wealth in our life. We want to create that freedom. So like, let's go back to your 3 buckets. I really like that. So mindset, relationships, and literacy. So when it comes to mindset, what is like a tip or a strategy that you would give a woman that can start to shift her mindset around money? Like, what would be a good tip that you would offer her?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest mindset shift, I mean, first of all, is to understand that we are all stuck in a 7-year-old mindset. So how our mindsets are set is from our environment when we're children. So it's like, what were our little listening ears doing? What were our little eyes seeing? And ultimately, in most households, money was either a topic that was never discussed, but would then show up in what we heard, we can't afford it, or whatever it might be. Or it was a scary subject. Mom and dad fought a lot or something. So ultimately that means money's not safe. And then we get in adulthood and we get married, and now we're fighting with our spouses. And now that's even verified or validated more. Yeah. So the mindset piece is to understand that one, we're probably, if we've not done this work, we're stuck in that 7-year-old belief system. And so, which is all scarcity based. So the mindset is there is actually plenty of money. I'm the creator of money. I am totally able to create wealth. The world is my oyster financially. I am smart enough. I am good enough. I am all the things and I can do this. Because it's true. There's no bullshit in that whatsoever. Money is actually much easier than health. It's much easier than relationships. Seriously, it's much less complicated, believe it or not. So that's the biggest mindset piece, is just to get out of this kind of story of that I don't like numbers, or it's always only for other people, and to understand that money, the other piece too, is money's not something we chase. It's not out there. Money's something we create. So when we're the creators and managers and lovers and directors of money, that gives us full autonomy and sovereignty and ability to create our own financial destiny. And it's available to everyone. It really is.
That is juicy as fuck. I will say that right now. Like, that feels so good. And if you guys didn't like get the specific, like the tip was pretty much like when you have maybe a negative, money mindset belief, like when you hear yourself saying, I don't have enough, I can't afford that, blah, 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 that negative side of it, reframe it, turn it around, and instead give yourself a very powerful money affirmation. Like for a long time, I was like, I am a money magnet. And like literally, I would just like, I'd get a check in the mail. I would find $5. I was like, oh my God, I'm a money magnet. This is so cool. So really the power in affirmations, you guys, like switch it around, switch that talk inside, and we'll start to shift that mindset. Okay, cool. So number one tip for building a relationship, like a healthy, sexy relationship to money.
Yeah, so the relationship piece is to move from the neglect of money and it's for somebody else to manage or take care of. Like, again, I'm not smart enough. I don't like numbers, whatever the case is. That again is a little bit of mindset work too. Everything is, they're all interrelated, but it's to move to this desire to want to spend time with your money, a desire to want to love your money. You know, if you say, if that's like money's greedy or these different things, there's some mind stuff we have to work on. But it's to move it like, again, that we want the relationship. I want a healthy, loving, kind, compassionate, attentive, time spent relationship with money. And that comes from desire. When we desire to have that, again, it's automatically going to change our behavior.
Love it. Love it. Okay. And then literacy, what is like, there's so much information. We could literally Google all kinds of like where to start with building, you know, building great wealth and all that jazz. But what would be a good tip for literacy?
Yeah, so I mean, the first thing is to understand that it is knowledge-based. So for all of us, there's probably more to learn. I'm still learning. I've been in this business a long time, right? Even, you know, creating and having millions. But the biggest, like one tip that is so simple, but so hard in a way, and it boils down to, let's say, spend less than you make. And, you know, and so that, I mean, that's how it's boiled down to the simplest, but to the tip is, imagine this, and there's the law of compounding, and that's where money will always make more money than you. The reason why we have to grow it and put it to work, because money can outperform our best hard work 2 to 1. And that's where it gets real, when you start to see that happen. But it's something in financial terms is called wealth is created in the margin. So imagine if you make a commitment that and you know, entrepreneurship's like this. It's not a straight line. You have big years and low years, big years and lower years, and you get pay raises and the economy shifts or COVID happens. So here's the thing. If it's spend less than you make, you determine a margin. And when you're making lower amounts, maybe it's a 10% margin. And maybe when you're making a lot more money, maybe it bumps up to a 30% margin. But that's the difference between what you make and what you spend. Now, you will be wealthy if we got this advice at age 25, and from the day we started making our first money to the day that we, you know, throw in the towel and say, I'm done working because my assets can support me, whatever age that is. Right. What that is you always keep that margin. So if you make $50,000 a year, you spend 90% of that. When you bump up to 100, you spend 90% of that. When you're at 250, maybe you spend 80%. You know, you can increase the margin. But if you kept just the 10% margin from the time 25 to whatever, you can reduce that timeline, you know, if you do bigger percentages as you earn more money. But just keeping that margin, you will be wealthy.
I love that.
You guys will be wealthy. So just hold the margin and make the commitment that no matter how much money I make, I always keep the margin. But that means we have to be in our money to understand how much we're spending relative to how we're making so that we can always keep the margin.
Y'all, you cannot put your hand in the sand or your head in the sand and just hope to God it's all going to work out. Like that is 100%. Well, Krisstina, I could just literally, I should bring you back on for another episode because I have so many juicy conversations that I'd love to just ask and dive deeper with you on. But I don't have time. So I am going to like cut it off here for today, you guys. I hope I can bring her back on and get her on at some point. But Krisstina, you're fabulous. I love you. Y'all, if you're trying to create a better mindset around money, if you're looking to, you know, have a better relationship or just to educate yourself, definitely go take that quiz. Awareness is like the first step to changing anything, in my opinion, is you first have to become aware. So Krisstina, thank you so much for all of your time today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, y'all, ladies, gents, whoever's listening out there, I am the #1 mindset and transformational coach, helping women boss up, get fit, and become unstoppable in their life, health, and their business. If you are interested in hopping on a quick 15-minute chat with me to really talk about what that would look like in coaching and mentorship, let's do it. Go ahead and book that Boss Up Clarity call today, and I will talk to you next week for another juicy ass conversation with another amazing woman. Talk soon.
Thank you for listening to Boss Up Babes with Karissa Adkins, bringing you tangible tips and expert coaching advice to help you boss up and get healthy. Tune in every Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com for interviews with industry leaders and powerhouse boss babes that will empower you to take action and live your best life. If you're ready to boss up and work with Karissa in one of her transformative group coaching programs, visit 365dailyhustle.com.